Hello again, everybody. Thanks for coming to watch. My name is Robert Centeno, one of the co-founders to TGT, The Guys Tech. So we do computer consulting, we do bills, we do some repairs, we do networking, quite a few different services we provide. I myself live in the Waterbury, Connecticut area. We do most of our work in Manhattan, some parts of Brooklyn, some areas of the Bronx, depending on what it is. I also work over in Newburgh, New York at Stewart International Airport, so I'm in that area as well. So if you have any questions or if you want to set something up, please feel free to reach out. So today we're going to be talking about the ASUS X505, okay? And this is a laptop that I have seen at Micro Center. Micro Center is a computer electronics store and is the only computer electronics store that I would recommend when you go to buy your computer, either laptops, desktops, equipment, accessories, parts, or whatever, okay? That's just in my personal experience. Usually, for the most part, their employees are much better trained in these sorts of things, and you can find lots of things at Micro Center that you can't really find at Best Buy or other electronic shops that sell computers, desktops, builds, and things like that. Okay, I don't have any kind of deal with Micro Center. They're not paying me to do these videos. Okay, so the reason why I want to talk about ASUS, and ASUS in particular when it comes to laptops. So if you're somebody, this is not for a big business, maybe it's just at home, maybe it's for general family use, maybe it's for your kids to do their homework, right? Maybe you're into photography, you just want to get started in learning photography or some video editing. Maybe you're into casual gaming, okay? Casual gaming, I'm not talking about Grand Theft Auto on max settings with all the mods. I'm not talking about COD, okay? I'm not talking about Skyrim with all the heavy-duty mods and stuff like that, okay? I'm just talking about if you play games like maybe your kids play Minecraft, maybe you're into League of Legends, maybe you play World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, even Star Wars The Old Republic would actually play really nice on this machine. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about, okay? I would not recommend this laptop for full-time business such as, photo editing, video editing, music editing. If you're into stocks and stock trading and you want the software and you've got like multiple screens open and you're heavy duty into stocks, stuff like that, I would not recommend a machine like that. I would push you more towards something like an i7, and that's a whole other thing right there, because all these things that I'm talking about are very resource intensive, and that's not something that this particular machine was designed for, okay? It's designed for the previous stuff that I had mentioned, okay? But the reason why I tend to go more toward ASUS, particularly when I get customers who are at home, like home business or just for the family, is because their prices are really good. The products are pretty much when you go to the store and you look at ASUS, Dell, Toshiba, or whatever, HP, one thing to understand is that all of these companies get their parts from the same source. So for the most part, these manufacturers are actually buying, all the manufacturers are buying most of the components from a company called Foxconn in China. They buy them, they rebrand them, and then they just put them in the machine. So when you buy these laptops, it's not really like on a normal consumer level, it's not that one manufacturer is actually better than any other. Now, I know customers have their own personal experiences. Maybe you've had a couple of Dells in the past and all the Dells have broken on you and you've had problems and maybe their service is terrible. So you went to Toshiba and you think Toshiba's great, or whatever the case may be. But the reality is that all these companies get most of the components from the same place. So that's one important thing that I want you guys to know. I gear more toward ASUS when it comes to family and home business because the price is right, and you can upgrade the RAM usually to a pretty decent amount, and you can also, of course, for any laptop, you can, for the most part, most of the normal size laptops, you can get upgrade your hard drive to a solid state drive, which is very important. Okay, but we're not going to go into all those things in this particular video. I just want to point out that this particular machine for $399, you get the AMD A9-9420 processor, which is actually, like, compared to Intel's i5 6th generation. And this particular processor, if you look it up on CPU Boss, which is something I go to reference things really quick when it comes to CPUs or the brain of the machine, it's a pretty good website, and it actually shows that the AMD has a few advantages over the i5. So it's actually a pretty good CPU. The machine comes with 8 gigs of RAM already built into the unit, so it's on board. So that is not removable. However, there is one empty slot, so you can go up to 16 gigs of RAM if you needed to. Why exactly would you need to do that? Well, there's a big misconception when it comes to RAM that even nowadays, I've mentioned it in some of the other videos, okay? I see a lot of techs tell people, if you want to increase your computer speed, get more RAM. And that's actually not true. More RAM does not speed up the overall performance of your computer. It only helps with multitasking. So what is an example of multitasking in your laptop? Well, let's say you need to do some research. You're doing a research paper and you've got Pandora music. You've got music playing in the background. You have Microsoft Word or Google Docs open up. You've got Excel open up, or whatever it is. And then you're also on the internet doing research. So then you go to a Wikipedia article, and then while you're reading that article, that points you to something else, and then you open that up. And then before you know it, you've got a whole bunch of different windows open. You've got multiple programs open. That is an example of multitasking. So that is where RAM will really help you. So for the most part, 8 gigs is pretty decent. But if you are into photography, so let's say you want to start learning Photoshop, okay? I'm not talking about don't use this for business purposes to help your clients, but if you just want to start learning things, let's say you got Photoshop open, then you've got a couple of different folders and you're working with different picture files, right? You're opening those up, then maybe you got to download some music from the internet, or again, you've got multiple things happening at one time. Going up to the 16 gigs of RAM will definitely help you out a lot when you've got multiple things going on at the same time, okay? If you are not that type of person, then if you just put on Netflix, Hulu, you just check your Facebook, your children just do their homework, even if you have a high school student or entry-level college and they're not really doing anything that's resource intensive like some of the other things I mentioned earlier, the 8 gigs is pretty much fine for the most part, okay? So unless you're going to start doing heavy media work or music work for the first time, you're teaching yourself and stuff like that, then, you know, getting the extra RAM will make a difference. Also, getting a solid state hard drive is something that I highly recommend. So right here, Samsung has a nice 250 gig solid state drive, again at Micro Center for only $89. That's something that you may want to consider. So solid state hard drives, again, this is a whole nother subject, but really quick. Solid state hard drives will give you usually 65 to 70% faster performance when accessing your data or opening up programs. They are also much safer, so there's less of a chance of the drive to fail than there is for the standard hard drive disks that you find in this computer. And you don't have to lose the 1 terabyte that comes. So this laptop that I'm pointing you toward has 1 terabyte. So you don't have to lose that. You can simply, if you have us do it for you, or if you have Micro Center do it for you, whoever, you can have them pull out the 1 terabyte and place it into what's called a hard drive enclosure. So it's a small rectangular container that literally encloses your hard drive. It closes up. It has a USB cable, plugs right into your computer, and you can use that as a backup drive. So you're not actually losing the 1 terabyte. You get the solid state drive installed, which is something that we charge. What we charge is like a joke, okay? I'm not sure what the other guys charge, so it's something very simple, doesn't take long, and you will be much happier with the overall performance of your machine with a solid state drive. Plus, like I said, your data will be more secure, less of a chance of the drive going bad. And then you just use the 1 terabyte drive as a backup, okay? Real quick, a lot of people use cloud services, but you just have to remember that if something happens and you don't have access to the internet for whatever the reason may be, you will not be able to have access to whatever files you have in the cloud. Versus if you carry around a small physical storage device with you and you're traveling around or something goes wrong, maybe you're in college, you're taking notes, for whatever reason something goes wrong, you simply pop in the external device and you have access to your backup files or whatever it is you put on there at any time that you need it. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. This particular machine is a great deal. It's a great buy. It's a great price. It's a nice looking machine. I had some people who made comments on some of the other videos that I made. Oh, Robert, you don't have the machine there. Have you even used it? How can you do a review video if you don't have the computer physically with you? Blah, blah, blah. Look, if I have the computer physically in front of me, that's still not going to show you personally how it is to use the machine. What I always tell my customers is go to the store and play around with it on your own physically. That's the only way that you're going to get a good look and feel for the machine. I myself, I've gone to Micro Center. I've used a lot of the units that they have on display. I really liked how this unit was performing specifically for the tasks that I had recommended it for earlier in this video. It works very, very well. And like I said, getting a solid state drive down the line or even at the time of purchase is a great idea, and it makes the machine run like lightning. Very inexpensive way to keep your data safer and make the machine a lot faster and last much, much longer. Typically, hard drives are one of the most common things to fail in computers. Getting a solid state hard drive would definitely increase the lifespan of any computer that you install one on. Okay, keep that in mind. And again, multitasking, you have the option down the road to go up to 16 gigs. Overall, this machine is $399. So with tax, you're looking at, you're getting a really nice system for that, comparable to an Intel i5 6th generation. It has pretty decent battery life. Okay, so give it a shot. Pick it up, go to the nearest Micro Center. If you guys have any more questions, let us know, and we'll be happy to answer as best as we can, okay? Thanks again for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.